Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is Ravon Leek, and today's video is more of a kinda, I don't know, it might be a complaint video, it might be a PSA towards Capcom and the developers of Most Underworld Iceborne, and this is a issue that we are having in the game, and no one is really actually seriously talking about it. We're kinda joking around the issue and hoping that something happens, I guess, but most of the people are just relying on modders to do the thing that they need, and I don't think personally that's a solution to a issue that is much broader than just the PC community, you know. This is an issue that affects the console players as well as the PC players, and the issue that we are talking about is of course the body part tenderizing and the clutch claw mechanic. Now on PC we already have 3 different mods that kinda change how tenderizing works. One of them is a weakness exploit change, one of them is a one-hit tenderize mod, and one of them is a much more broader gameplay change. Now all of these are just community made mods, and I honestly think that since this is a much broader issue that we actually need an official update to the whole situation, because currently the way that Monster Hunter feels, how Iceborne feels, is that it's a minigame of trying to get tenderized body parts. And what I mean by this, I think most of the hunters that I've played with, most of the people that I've seen hunt, most of the people that I see comment on the game are saying that they spend majority of the time just trying to get tenderized body parts and not actually enjoying the hunts. And that's a big change in Iceborne, and it's a huge backward step in how the hunts feels. You know, in Most Underworld at least you got to hunt a little bit. In Iceborne it's more like one guy start trying to tenderize and everyone else is just hacking away. So it feels like this minigame. Alright, so let's just hop straight into the fixes that we can actually hope for and make to the game. And of course, honestly, I do believe that if we discuss about these issues that Capcom might actually notice and just try and change them in the game itself, and not just, you know, leave it to us or anything. So one of the things that we can do is of course increase the duration of tenderized part, and this is one of the things that I've seen on many of the replies that I've gotten on one of my Reddit posts as well, and I think that's something that we all agree with, that the tenderized body part duration is way too low. It just lasts like maybe a minute or something, and you need to tenderize again, and it becomes this tedious process of a minigame where you just need to keep tenderizing constantly. So there are a couple of things that you could do there. Either make it permanent tenderized body part, or make the duration last a little bit longer so that it doesn't feel so bad. And on top of that, there is another solution, which is that when you break a part, that it stays tenderized. That actually makes total sense. If you break a part, it should be tenderized, you know. Alright, so a second solution, of course, what people are saying is that heavy weapons and their animation to tenderize is way too slow. And I do tend to agree with that monsters don't give a whole like plethora of openings where you could actually tenderize, and the only really solution you have is to tenderize when the monster gets the clagger animation, and during that you can of course tenderize. And on top of this, what Capcom is doing is introducing these monsters that actually just completely break tenderizing, like Rejang for example. Capcom introduces tenderizing, and then they introduce a monster that doesn't allow you to tenderize. It's so backwards way of thinking in my mind, and it's so kinda, it's to a degree it's funny, but it's also kind of frustrating to see that. Now As I said, the animation speed we can actually increase. That would be an update that we could get. Just increased animation speed for tenderizing on slow weapons. But then you would think, well, if slow weapons get an animation speed increase, then what do the faster weapons get? Well, one of the things that you could add is make it so that light weapons, when they try to clutch claw or do at least the first tenderized animation where they drop the slinger ammo, that those slinger ammos actually, some of them might get automatically equipped on you, the player, and some of them drop. So actually the light weapons get the slinger ammos that they need. You know, that would be good for a bow player. They automatically get more slinger ammo as they keep tenderizing. That's a good thing, right? It might be a little bit broken, might not actually change anything. You know, honestly, I personally don't think that even if Monster Hunter was broken as hell, I don't think that's a bad thing. Even if it's unbalanced as hell, I don't think that's a bad thing. When the gameplay isn't fun, that's a bad thing. So, yeah, that's why I'm talking about this. So a third thing that we can do is add a additional ways we can tenderize. And I honestly think that the way that Capcom is going to approach this is to give us a Tenderizing Mantle. And I personally, I'm on the fence of that. I really hope that they don't go that route and just add a Tenderizing Mantle. Because then everyone is just going to run with Tenderizing Mantle and nothing really... it just breaks the game, honestly. It's the same way that how Temporal Mantle just completely broke the game. Don't make the same mistake. Instead, what you can actually do is give us an item like a fish scale or a whetstone that you can actually buff your weapon with, and you get a duration of 30 seconds to 45 seconds where you can actually tenderize monster parts with your heaviest attacks. So let's say level 3 on greatsword, or the strongest attacks that your weapons have, those tenderize whilst you have the whetstone buff applied. Now, of course, it would make it so that everyone would just keep using the whetstone every single time they get the chance. We already know what happened with Monster Hunter 4 use Y stone mechanic, where Y stones added the ability to give your weapon a mind's eye as well as a damage boost. That's just basically what they did. I'm not going to explain like the broader extent how it affected him for you, but people tended to kind of like it, but also not like it, because it didn't work for you at least. But I do think that in this Tenderize thing, it might work actually really well. Okay, so those are 3 fixes that we can actually hope for. And all of those 3 don't actually affect the way that we use Clutch Claw at all. And that's the main thing that I'm constantly thinking about when I think about fixes into the game, are things that don't actually change the core ways that we play the game. So as Capcom introduced the Clutch Claw mechanic, they really wouldn't want to take anything away from it. Make people use it less, essentially. They would much rather give you more, I think at least, they would much rather give you more options and maybe reduce how often you keep doing it constantly, but still keep the ability to do so there. So I don't think that the change that we need is with the way that the Clutch Claw works and the way that we use it. I do think that there just needs to be some balanced things here and there, and just make sure that people are happy with hunting the monster and not just keep spamming tenderizing. But yeah, I do hope that this video gets kinda shared around, and make sure that you post it on Twitter, maybe on Reddit, maybe on Facebook, whatever. Just make sure that we are talking about this and discussing the issue and not just joking around the facts. I don't think it helps anyone in the community when we are just joking and hoping that, okay, well, PC modders will fix everything, and meanwhile PS4 players and Xbox players are left to dust. I don't think that's a good solution for anyone. We need to think about these issues as a community and something that we actually need to be fixed, you know. Anyhow, that's enough of ranting from me. I do hope that you guys enjoy your hunts in the future, and have a nice day. Happy hunting!